wants to go
I
next?
feel like Nick should do one since his is probably gonna be the longest one.
It is the Nicky Dickies.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is Andy's. Here's Nick's. Alrighty.
Yeah, here we go.
Ready to go when you are.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna do or my scale is probably gonna be a little bit different than Roger's since he had a lot of that are just S and A rank stuff. So I'm probably gonna have a bit more in like the C and D rank, not because I thought these games were bad. Like I didn't play any bad games. It's just that if I didn't do that, then they would basically all be like A's and B's. So just to kind of even though the quality still varied enough where I still feel like I want to take advantage of the entire scale. So yeah, just because I give some a D rank doesn't mean I hate it, but yeah. Anyway, getting started, we'll start with Nier Automata.
Tomato.
Tomato. Anyway, I would probably give that an A rank. Like, it was fun. It does have one of the more interesting, like, fictional universes because it, takes place way in the future, but it still is basically the real world, just kind of an alternate history type future going on. But yeah, it was really interesting. And I actually do want to play Nier Replicant when it comes out because it looks like basically the first game, but just given the Yakuza Kiwami treatment. So, pretty cool. Yeah, next up is Animal Crossing. I'll probably put that in the A rank too. Like, I mean, mostly just because I put in like hundreds of hours into it. Like, but there's plenty of room for improvement there. Like, it is still just a glorified dollhouse simulator, as David puts it. But still, I can't deny like how much I play it and still play it, even though I haven't played it in a while. But I mean, my girlfriend still plays it regularly, and she's like, "Hey, I sent you something. You need to do this." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm picking it up again for a while." But okay, next is Astral Chain. Probably gonna give that an A.
For Astral Chain.
Astral Chain. But anyway, maybe I should give it a B then, because it's between A and C. But no. Anyway, yeah, really fun game. Just like it feels like you're playing an anime, basically. Combat's unique, pretty easy, but it's not. Like, you think it'd be kind of confusing controlling your own guy and controlling your... Shit, I'm actually trying to blank out what those things are called.
Legion.
Okay, yeah. I this is a game I played way back at the beginning of the year, so my memory on it's not exactly fresh. But no, it's actually pretty simple to wrap your head around. I enjoyed it. Okay, Axiom Verge. I'll give that one I'll probably give that one a C.
Give that one an
C.
I can make you an row.
Right. No, it's low D, but no. I'll give it a C. That game was I just finished playing the Trails of Cold Steel games, and those games are like really, really ridiculously long, and I'd played through both, like the first two, one after another. So I'm like, okay, I need a break from, a big long RPG, and I was looking for something kind of indie and something Metroidvania. So I literally just Googled good Metroidvanias and just read through a couple of lists, and Axiom Verge was on most of them. I'm like, you know what, this seems like it'll fit the bill just fine. So I just played through it. Yeah, it's fun. Not really a whole lot to say about it because it's pretty basic. Like, it's clearly inspired by Super Metroid. But yeah, served its purpose just fine, so moving along. Next is Cave Story, another Metroidvania I played a lot earlier in the year. Yeah, I'll probably give that one a C too. That's kind of like the quintessential indie game, because, it came out way back in, like 2004?
Something like
before
that.
indie games were really, like, they weren't even close to what they are now, but still, it has its place in history. But I only, like, just played it this year, so to me, it's like, okay, it was definitely amazing in 2004. Now it's pretty basic,
Dated.
Yeah, but still, I'd recommend it because it's like really short, like a bite-sized playthrough. You could beat it in an afternoon. Okay. Next we'll have Donkey Kong Country 1. I'll give that a B. I mean, it's a
Or
classic.
banana. Sorry.
Yeah, banana.
Quack.
Because yeah, Andy and I play through that whole trilogy like once a year, and they recently put it on Nintendo Online, so we were actually able to play them this year for the first time in a while. I still think the first game is the weakest of the bunch. Yeah, bunch.
Funny jokes.
But anyway, yeah, still
Okay.
classic. Love it. We'll go with Donkey Kong Country 2 next. I'll give that one an A simply because I do like it better than the first game. And for Donkey Kong Country 3, I'll also give that one an A. For the sake.
Amanda wants to know why you didn't give Donkey Kong Country 2 S tier.
I mean, I would, but the thing is, I almost reserve S tier for like God tier games, like games that you only see once every like decade or so.
Any particular order there, Nick?
No, not really. But yeah.
Then 3 is officially slightly worse than 2.
Well, that is how I feel about it. So,
Okay,
yeah,
works
fine.
out.
In fact, I was kind of debating if I wanted to put 3 in the B lane with the first game or not, because 2 is definitely the best of the bunch, but I still like 3 better than the first game, which is, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but anyway, Doom 2016. Because, yeah, I haven't played Doom Eternal yet, but I just played Doom. That game was just, yeah, I hadn't quite finished Trails of Cold Steel 2 yet, and I was like, I just unlocked the final, like, dungeon, and I was like, okay, this is just, I need a break from this. So I just said, and this was also while I was quarantined, because my girlfriend had COVID, so I was like, I need to blow off some steam, so I just played through that all in one day.
Needed to rip and tear.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll probably give it a... let's see. Yeah, I'll probably give it a solid B.
For
Yeah,
boom.
Yeah, it was fun. It served its purpose just fine. Okay. Next, we have Final Fantasy 1. Now, specifically, I played the PSP port, because, like, yeah, fuck playing the original. It's just...
Terrible.
Yeah. It's just... my free time is too important to me, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'd probably give this one probably a B. Because, like, it's the first of its kind, and it still holds up pretty well today. I mean, obviously there's little semblance of story, but, it established a lot of the tropes that the series later became known for. Final Fantasy 2.
Which
I'll
version
probably
did you play? PSP
Oh yeah,
again?
that's also the PSP version. Yeah. So that one, kind of torn between B and C because on one hand, I don't really like the leveling system in it. I mean, most people don't, but I mean, I do like that this one is actually story driven, unlike the first one. I mean, it's pretty basic by today's standards, but yeah, it's still pretty good. Yeah, I'll probably just give it a C. Actually, let's do Final Fantasy 3 next.
Doop.
That one is going to be a definite D, because that game pissed me off.
Which version did you play?
I actually played the Steam version, which is just a port of the DS version. But, yeah, I mean, Andy and I have kind of gone on about this in the past, but, it seems like they were trying to make it, unlike the PSP versions of 1 and 2, where they kind of rebalanced it so it's a bit easier. They didn't really, or they also had some quality of life improvements, in particular, being able to save in the middle, or being able to save anywhere, in the middle of dungeons. They didn't do that with Final Fantasy 3. You can only save on the world map, so it's okay, they were trying to make it like the original, but because it's a 3D game on the DS, they still had to rebalance it anyway because only so many monsters could appear on screen at once. So it's okay, if it's going to be different in that regard, why not just give us, the ability to save in the middle of dungeons and stuff? So half the time I go through a dungeon, dying the boss, and it's like, okay, now I have to go through the dungeon and collect all the freaking chests again and stuff, and just waste time.
The
But
problem, sorry, I just like the problem with the bosses specifically was like a lot more like you had a specific job, and if you just didn't start the battle with that job, you were fucked.
yeah, and since you can't save before the boss, there's a way to, or you can't save in dungeons, so you can go through the whole thing, then find out that you don't have the right job, die, and then waste all that time. Like, yeah, it just felt like really rigid. And then what really pissed me off was the fucking ending boss, because you have to go through like a boss gauntlet, which takes like several hours because you can't save it in the middle in between any of them. And then like yeah, the end boss just kicked my ass because I wasn't ready for her, and then yeah, I just wasted all that time. So, and then like the only real way for me to actually win was to grind, which is never fun. So yeah, definite D. Don't recommend it.
Definitely.
I'm not gonna lie, probably the worst Final Fantasy game I've ever played, hands down. So.
Even worse than the original.
Yes, without a doubt. What were you gonna say, Andy? You sounded like you had.
No, I'm just going.
Like it sounded like you were gonna say like, oh, well, even I think like such and such is worse. But yeah.
Right. Moving
I'll
on.
save it later.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, I'll give that one an A, because
Hey.
yeah, that one's just. Yeah, I've played it quite a bit in the past, but 2020 is the first time I actually beat it, because I often just get to the World of Ruin part and just kind of get bored of it. But this time around, the World of Ruin part is where I actually started to get more interested in it. But yeah, it's fun. Kefka's a great villain, and has good cast characters. Yada yada yada. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm almost a little surprised you don't have the original on here.
Original what?
FF7.
Well, I haven't played. I didn't really play FF7 on here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm a little surprised you didn't.
Oh, no, not enough to where I felt it was right to include it here. But anyway, FF7 Remake, I'd give an A. Like, my main problem with it was just like the Whisper subplot is really kind of divisive among people. But other than that, we did a whole other podcast about it, so probably don't really have to say too much more than that. All right, what's next? Guacamelee?
Yes. Where's that baby going?
All right, I'll give that one a B. It's another Metroidvania, but that one actually does have a really fun, really fun combat system. You do all these awesome wrestling moves and stuff. Oh god, what's next? Is that
like
Professor
Layton.
Layton? Yeah. I guess that would be a solid C. Because it was the first Layton game I ever played, and yeah, it was enjoyable enough. But yeah, just not really a whole bunch else to say about it, really. But Mario 3, that's a classic. Yeah, I'll give that an A rank, right up there with Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. Because Andy and I play that every year. And yeah, kind of a landmark title during its time. It still holds up well nowadays. Next, we have Ori, the Will of the Wisp. That I'm gonna give a C. It's definitely an improvement over the first game, but the main reason why it's not a B, like right up there with Guacamelee, is because, like, at least when I first played it, because I first played it when it first came out, and I played it on Xbox, and it had like serious technical problems. Like the game would just stutter to a crawl, and the only way to fix it was to like shut the game down and bring it back up. I've probably fixed it by now, but still, my experience was kind of soured by that because it was just practically unplayable. All right, next, Panzer Paladin. I'll probably give that a C. Just simply because I love like some old school Mega Man style games. Like when I first saw it, I thought it was more of a Shovel Knight type game. Probably has more in common with Mega Man.
It's a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
It's like Mega Man meets DuckTales.
Yeah, I do. I mean, did like the system where you can like break your weapons and get kind of buffs out of them. But I mean, it does almost make the bosses too easy if you just kind of spam the defense ones and like HP ones and stuff. Even though like a lot of people said the game is like stupid hard, I'm just like, are you just
What?
not playing it? I'm like, are you guys just not playing it right? Because yeah, I just didn't think it was that hard.
Like
But,
remix mode gets a little hard, but
yeah, I didn't actually play that, but still fun game. Recommend it. Okay, next Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. All right, that's going to be an A. Simply because, I mean, if you would have asked me like 20 years ago, I probably would have said it's an S. But having played it again in 2020, I'm like,
Twilight.
there are some parts that are pretty slow that don't really hold up as well as I remember. But still, I mean, the screen name that I use everywhere is from this game, so it still is a special place in my heart.
The fucking Twilight chapter. That's always what gets me. Everything else, just fine. That fucking chapter.
Yeah, that was one of them. And just in general, the game is really wordy. Like, sometimes, I mean, a lot of the writing's great and all, localization's good, but sometimes it's like, oh, okay, you guys just need to shut up so I can get back to the game. Anyway, Pokemon Sword. All right, I'm gonna give this a C because I don't hate it as much as everybody else does. But yeah, it definitely deserves all the criticism it's getting because they just basically released the bare minimum that just to get to sell, and yeah, missing features, yada yada yada. But for me personally, I just like to play the Pokemon games just to play them. I don't play them competitively or to complete my Pokedex or anything, so it served its purpose just fine. Alright, next is Raging Loop.
More like raging poop.
Hmm.
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Wavelength.
We're both fucking immature.
Anyway, this is going to be a C. Oh, excuse me.
What the fuck is it?
I figured you guys probably had no idea what the hell it is. But according to Nintendo, it's actually the third most played Switch game for me of last year. Believe it or not. Because it's just really fucking long. It's a visual novel, and it's kind of inspired by the werewolf party game. That one where you have to figure out who's the werewolf, and the werewolf has to not get killed. It's basically it was inspired by that, and they made a whole story out of it. And yeah, they made it ridiculously long. Like I think it took me like 55 hours. But
Wait,
What the
is
fuck?
is this the one that was on the one of the recent Nindies things? Like the indie showcase?
I don't know. I don't
Like,
think I saw it. If it was,
very recently. When did it come out?
I think it's been out for a while. It's been out since at least 2019. I think it's been out
Oh.
even longer than that on other
Okay.
platforms.
Never
So yeah,
mind
it's
then.
not new. It's not new.
Cause
But
yeah,
yeah,
like
it's honestly it's not that great. It's almost like, why did I spend that much time on it? I think it just I think I kept playing because I thought it would get great, but yeah, it really just wasn't. It's full of plot holes and I can go on and on about it, but
yeah, because it's
yeah,
weird. Like
that's Raging Loop.
one of the indie showcases, like in the last month or so, I want to say, they were saying something about some game that was a visual novel, but it was also like social deduction sim or something like that. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
what
well,
the
this
fuck?
isn't a sim. This is just a straight up. It's like reading a book. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, this was visual novel-y too, which had me really confused as to how that works. But yeah, anyway.
Either way, the only reason why I'm not giving it a D is because I did spend 50 plus hours on it, so I did kind of get its hooks into me a little bit. So it didn't piss me off the way FF3 did. So yeah, I give it kind of a low C. I can't really recommend it, but anyway, next is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. that game I'm gonna give a solid A, definitely, because are you guys familiar with it at all?
I
No.
am. I haven't played it, but I'm familiar with the concept.
As am
Yeah, it's basically like it's a farming sim, but like all you do, the only crop you grow is rice. Like you don't grow anything else, and it's also like a side-scrolling platformer too.
Kind of
But-
like what's that one Vanillaware game with the? It was the Japanesey one.
Oh shit! I think I know what game you're talking about, but I can't remember what it's called. Is it the game that originally came out on the Wii?
Yeah,
God.
with the. It had like two playable characters. One was the girl in the pink kimono, and then the other was the edgelord ninja looking guy.
Uramasa.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
awesome.
really,
God damn it.
I really
Forgot
just
about
looked at my Wii games because they're right behind me. I'm like, ah, yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's kind of like that. But like you only grow one crop in the game, but like they made it a point to put as much depth into the rice growing as possible. Like how much water you give it, how you space the plants apart,
How you fertilize
Like-
them?
how you fertilize it, yeah, and like. Yeah, and that'll determine how the rice turns out, and how the rice turns out will determine the stat boosts that you get, because that's how you level up in that game. You don't actually gain experience; you just grow rice, and yeah, it just makes you powerful in the side-scrolling platforming parts. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed it a lot. Like, and yeah, it actually does have a similar gameplay loop to Monster Hunter, believe it or not, because you eat meals and stuff and you get stat buffs from it, and they're practically a requirement to not get killed and stuff. But yeah, it has kind of a similar rinse and repeat. Like you grow your rice, you go out and you go out in the field and gather materials and stuff, and go home, eat your meal, whatever. So yeah, this game, it does have kind of a fun story with amusing characters and stuff. So yeah, this game is kind of what inspired me to actually give the Monster Hunter series another try. So once Monster Hunter, God, I can't speak right now. Once Monster Hunter Rise comes out, I'll probably buy it and start from scratch with it.
Then you can play with me and Bozeman.
Yeah, just might do that. Yeah, I liked it. I recommend it.
Don't do it. It's a trick.
One of us. One of us.
So, Mario 64. Yeah, it's another landmark title. Yeah, I was kind of on the fence about if I wanted to just have this game on its own or just have the, Mario 3D All-Stars collection, since that's how I played it. But this is really the only game from that collection that I actually finished, so I was like, I'll just put it by itself. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the B territory. I mean, yeah, it's a landmark title. First time it was revolutionary, yada yada yada, but
B.
there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't really hold up that well nowadays. Like the camera basically sucks.
B for Bang Bang Wahoo.
Mm-hmm. And I literally got all 120 stars in like 5 hours. I'm like, my God, either I just know this game way too well, or this game is just
Well, why don't you just go apply for GDQ?
no. 'Cause actual speedrunners of this game are like ridiculous.
That looks like
All right.
you got some trails of cold steel, I think.
Yeah, let's start with the first game. In fact, just put both. Like, yeah, you might as well just put both of them up there because they're basically one big game. But yeah, put them in the S tier. 'Cause,
Oh.
I really love these games. Like they have a strong focus on world building and stuff. Like, and it's not afraid to get into really nitty gritty politics with its story. Normally, I hate politics in real life, but like in a fictional setting, it's like have at it. And yeah, fun characters, has a really enjoyable turn-based combat system that doesn't really reinvent the wheel, but it's just like so good at what it does that it doesn't really need to. So yeah, those two games really were just a highlight of the whole year for me. And like, yeah, it really is like one big game because the first game ends at such a huge cliffhanger that you pretty much have to play the second game right away. Oh, anyway, Trials of Mana. This game, I'll put it in A territory, simply because it just really clicked with me when I played it. Like, I didn't actually play the original, but this game seems like they revamped the combat system in all the right ways, so just feels like a good update to an already good game from what I understand, so, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Gassy Andy.
I've been drinking beer. That's what does it for me.
Vermintide 2. This is the game I played with Andy, Mark, and Bozeman. It's basically Left 4 Dead, but in the Warhammer universe. And, you can actually, gain experience and level up and get new equipment and stuff. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually.
Where's this baby?
I don't know. Oh, let me think.
You didn't have this planned ahead of time, Nick? Jesus.
Oh my god.
I did, but I had a lot of games. Give me a break. Some of them I gave more thought to than others. So this one I'll probably put in B territory because, I had a lot of fun playing it with you guys. And it's Left 4 Dead in an era where Left 4 Dead doesn't really exist anymore, or at least not until, Back 4 Blood or whatever comes out.
Provided the team doesn't completely cock it up.
Yeah.
They will.
Anyway, moving along, Yakuza 0. I'll put that in S rank territory.
Oh, baby.
Because that game was just... It was a wild ride. We'll just say that. Like, if you're looking to get into the Yakuza games, definitely start there, I would say. Yeah. Yoshi's Island, that's a classic. But honestly, I'm probably going to put it in the B territory. Because, it's not like, Mario World where it's all non-linear and stuff. It's only one player, even though Andy and I kind of still play a two-player by just switching who plays back with each level. Okay, Yakuza Like a Dragon, or aka Yakuza 7. This is a game I'm currently playing. Haven't actually finished it yet, but I'm far enough along where I figured I can include it here. Yeah, I'll give it a solid A. It doesn't resonate with me quite like Yakuza 0 did. You could definitely tell it's their first attempt at an RPG, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Alright, this is the original Portal. Yeah, I just played this because I saw a random guy at BioLife that had an Aperture Science shirt on. I'm like, I haven't played that in a long time. That'd be a good way to just kill an afternoon. So I just did that.
Afternoon. You kill it dead.
I did kill that afternoun.
You kill it dead.
Anyway,
But is he still alive?
yeah, us gamers who, man, I hate myself. Anyway, I'll put this one in probably B territory.
B it is.
Like, obviously Portal 2 is a lot better, but the original is still good in its own right. Like, I've always thought of Portal as like a modern day classic, but nowadays it's old enough at this point where it's probably just a regular classic. Like, it came out, like 2007? So, yeah, it's fucking ancient as far as I'm concerned. Alright, Smash Ultimate. Yeah, we'll put that in A territory. I guess you can see Roger's post, because basically how I feel about it too. And Wild Guns.
Last but not least. Or
Yeah,
is it
definitely
least?
not least. No. I'm not going to put it in the same territory as fucking Final Fantasy 3. But
I haven't changed your D tier name for you. Just to...
I can't really read that because it's too blurry for me. It looks like it says,
something off. That's all.
looks like it says piss costs off. Piss costs off.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Well, anyway. Oh, Wild Guns. Well, we'll give it a B. Just fun, like, quick fun that anyone could instantly jump in and enjoy. Yeah, that's my list. Now time for me to take a breather.
Time for you to take a beating for how shitty your tier list is.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine list. I don't exactly agree with like a bunch of it, but I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I get your like I like that you're kind of keeping the S tier stuff a bit more sacred, because like I feel like sometimes everyone gets a little willy nilly, but then like everything kind of gets piled up to the A.
Well, yeah, that's why that's why I was like, okay, I gotta kind of spread these out a bit more. Like, none of these games are bad games per se, but like, yeah, I could have easily just stuck all of them in the A tier, and it's like, okay, that just doesn't really, not particularly helpful at separating all these.
It's funny because probably the similar stuff that I have on my list is probably going to go in very different.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. And also, like, I don't know how you view the tiers in your head probably are different from how I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for a lot of people, like, because I'm sure a lot of people see B and C and they think that means that it's awful.
Right,
but,
and like that's why I tried to make that clear at the beginning that like they're not bad. It's just that, compared to these other games, they're not on the same level.
Alrighty. Any more thoughts on Nick's list? Roger, you got anything to say?
It is good.
I thank you,
Final
Roger.
verdict.
You're like, Nick already kind of really gave us a lot of reasons why everything's where. I feel like there's not much else to say at this point about it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I guess we're gonna go on to Andy then.
Okay, well then let me grab some booze from my desk. As the burps have indicated, I am out of beer.